We are in week 10 of college football, guys. Man, this season's going by really fast. We're going to go over some matchups and some picks for the week. My record is 53-27 for the year. I had a pretty good week last week, 7-3. Spread is just above 500. Went 6-4 last week as well. So hopefully we can have another good week this week, guys. Starting off with number 10 matchup with Clemson hosting Notre Dame. Clemson's 4-4 for the first time, and I can't even remember the last time Clemson was 4-4 at any point in the season. While Notre Dame's 7-2, riding a number 15 ranking in the initial CFP rankings. I'm going to go with Notre Dame in this one. Notre Dame with the money line and with the spread. They're 16-2 as an away favorite last 5 years. Clemson's only been a home underdog once since 2018, but this is just a different Clemson team, and I just don't know what the heck to pick them. I picked them 2 weeks in a row at least, and they lost both of those against Miami and the last week against NC State. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I'm going to pick Notre Dame. They're just a better team. Clemson is going nowhere in offense. Their defense is just not holding teams. They're not putting it together this year, and I do believe this is going to be one of the worst years, if not the worst, under Dabo Swinney down in South Carolina. Number 9. Ohio State at Rutgers. This is it's so weird that Rutgers is already bowl eligible. That is amazing. They're 6-2, bowl eligible by the time November rolled around. When is the last time that happened? I can't remember, guys. They're playing well. They had a pretty easy strength of schedule so far. Obviously 98th. Their only losses were to Michigan, and I forget the other loss was too. Maybe Penn State. I forget. But I don't know. Rutgers is a much improved team. But this matchup is not in favor of them whatsoever. Ohio State's going to win this. Obviously, they're 22-2 as a road favorite in the last 5 years, while Rutgers has won one game as a home underdog. They've won out of the last 23 games. They've won a game as an underdog at home. And I think Ohio State's going to beat the spread, 19.5. So I just think it's not even going to be a close game. I think Ohio State rolls on Rutgers. Yes, this is going to be a decent game. With all the analytics and all the pre-game hype, but once it starts, those 60 minutes, I think Ohio State's just going to be a much better team. Number 8, Kansas at Iowa State. Kansas with a monumental, one of the best wins of the year, the upset last week, hosting Oklahoma, gave them their first loss of the year. Kansas at 6-2, their first ever ranking in the CFP top 25. Their initial game after this is going on the road at Iowa State, who, shockingly, is a 2.5-point favorite. Iowa State, basically last 2 years, has been left for dead. And to start the season, it looked like it would be the same trend. But Iowa State kind of surged in the last month and a half here. They're playing really well. Their defense, like usual, is ranked in the top 15. They're ranked number 11. Offense is not even that bad. Record strength is 41st, not too shabby for a 5-3 team. And their strength of schedule is obviously, they lost 3 games because they have the 13th ranked strength of schedule. So I think I'm going to go with Iowa State, which by Vegas would not be an upset, but in most people's mind, this would be an upset. 24-5 as a home favorite last 5 years, while Kansas is 5-24 as a road underdog. But again, that was before this year, so Kansas is just a much different team. But saying that, I got to go with the trend here. I think Iowa State's going to win, and they're going to cover, and they're going to have a chance to be tied for first after this weekend's over for the Big 12 lead. Iowa State, the Cyclones are going to, I do believe, upset Kansas the week after they just pulled an upset of their own, and move on to 6-3. Go to the Pac-12, number 7th ranked game, UCLA at Arizona. UCLA is a 3-point favorite. They had a pretty decent win so far this year. Arizona beat, who did they beat? That was Oregon State last week. Yeah, that's what it was. They beat Oregon State. Good upset for them, and they're just one win away from getting the bowl eligibility. Man, Rutgers and Arizona, 2 teams that have a chance to get the bowl eligibility here before the second week in November. That is remarkable how bad those 2 programs have been for the better part of the last decade. That is insane. I actually do believe Arizona is going to win this and get to bowl eligible. All the stats show that. UCLA is ranked 19th in the CFP. We're ranked 1 ahead of USC. I just don't think they're that good of a team. I don't know what they see in that. I don't know. Resume obviously speaks a lot for these rankings, but Arizona is just UCLA is just not. They haven't impressed me once this year. Dante Moore got benched. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think Arizona's going to win. They're obviously going to cover the 3 points, and they'll get to bowl eligible for the first time in, I do believe, like 6 years. Number 6, SEC matchup, Texas A&M at Ole Miss, who came up number 10 in the initial CFP rankings. I think Ole Miss is going to win this one. They're a 3-point favorite, 54 over-under against A&M. A&M still needs to prove something to me before they can even, do anything. I mean, look at that bottom stat there. As a road underdog in the last 5 years, they haven't won one game. 0-11. While Ole Miss is 24-3 as a home favorite. You got to take Ole Miss in this. This is no doubt Ole Miss going to win this, and I think they're going to cover this 3-point spread as well. Number 5, Bedlam. One of the last Bedlam we have for the foreseeable future as a conference game as well. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Coming off that, crazy loss to Kansas last week, Oklahoma is reeling. I don't know what's going to happen in this one. They could suffer, a bounce. They could have a really bad rebound and not play as well again and show their true colors, or they could come out and just absolutely stomp Oklahoma State, who up until last few weeks, you're like, Oklahoma State, they're trash. Nope, they're 6-2. They're tied for first in the Big 12 with Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas State, I do believe. And whoever wins this will be first in the Big 12. That's going to be remarkable. And I think it's still going to be Oklahoma, though. I think the Sooners are going to bounce back, win the game ultimately, but I do think it'll be close. Oklahoma State will cover the 6 points, and I think this might be a field goal game. Oklahoma wins in the end, but Oklahoma State covers, and Oklahoma will move to 8-1 on the season. Number 4, out west, Pac-12 matchup. Washington versus USC. I'll both go into the Big 10 next year. USC, I don't know what to think of them, man. They have the offense. It's there. It's just their defense is so bad. Any 1 or 2 possessions that doesn't go well for the offense, they're basically toast. They're basically remind you of the 2018 Oklahoma team that was just so good at offense, where their defense was historically bad. And Washington, they have a really good offense too. They're one of the best in the country. Their defense is just that much better than USC, and I think that's going to be the main difference in this game. 11-7 as a road underdog, as a road favorite, not that good of a record. USC's only been a home underdog 5 times in 5 years, but this is just, I don't know. It's Washington's to lose. I feel like the Pac-12, at least in the rest of their games. I mean, if they get that rematch against Oregon, that's a different story. But Washington's going to win this, and I think they're going to cover the 3-point spread and move to 9-0, possibly moving in the top 4 in next week's COP rankings. Number 3, the battle for the SEC East. 7-1 Missouri going on the road at 8-0 Georgia. Georgia was not number 1 in the CFP. They're actually number 2 behind Ohio State. Well, I mean, Ohio State has the best resume so far, but Georgia's still, they passed the eye test. They're still, they're the team to beat no matter what. Missouri, though, one of the more surprising teams of the whole year. Number 12 in the initial CFP rankings. This is a good Missouri team, and they let that game against LSU get away. Otherwise, this could have been 8-0 versus 8-0, possibly top 8, matchup, top 6, whatever it may be, top 5, honestly. Georgia's gonna win this. They're 33-1 as a home favorite the last 34 games, while Missouri's only 3-12. I think Missouri's gonna cover the 14.5 point spread, though. I think Georgia, I don't know. They're just they look great against Kentucky, and they look great last week. To me, they still have to have that just next. I don't know what it is. This is going to be the best team they'll face, obviously, the whole year so far. And if they can cover this spread, I think that Georgia we can officially say, okay, enough of the smack talk. Georgia's, not the same Georgia. Then they will be. I think if Missouri covers this spread, though, we'll still have questions. So that's what my picks, though. Georgia's going to win. Missouri will cover. Number 2, another battle for first in the Big 12. Kansas State at Texas. Again, we said last week Quinn Ewers is out for the foreseeable future. This last year, Texas beat Kansas State towards the end of the season. Well, Kansas State went on to win the Big 12, obviously. But this one, it has just as big, if not even bigger, connotations for the Big 12. 6-2 earlier, and they've won at least 3 games in a row to move, like I said, tied for first in the Big 12 with a 4-way tie. And they're rated 14th in the power ratings. Texas is rated 4th still. Both are really good in offense and defense. I'm going to take Texas, though, in the spread. Even with their backup, they're going to money line and the spread. I just think Texas is a better team, and Kansas State, this is gonna be a close game. This will be a touchdown game, I do believe, but I think Texas is still gonna cover that 4 points. And I don't know. This is basically a toss-up for me, but this is gonna be a great game to watch. Whoever wins, it's gonna be enjoyable for us fans. Finally, number 1 game of the week: the rematch of last year's epic 1-point overtime victory by LSU at home against Alabama. Basically, took them out of the playoffs. This game is going to be. I have no idea which way to go with this game. I picked Alabama to win the money line. I picked LSU to cover the 3-point spread. I'm basically hedging my bets here because I have no idea. I could win both of them technically. It could be LSU losing by 1, 2, or 3 points, and I still, don't come away with a loss. But it's hard not to pick Alabama this game, especially how they've been playing as of late. It's just LSU's offense is going to keep them within, fighting distance of the game, of the win. I don't know. The offenses are both good. Defenses, stark contrast. 42 for LSU, number 2 for Alabama. 4th and 14th in record strength. Strength of schedules, both pretty good. This is going to have huge implications on the CFP, whether it's Alabama winning or CFP or LSU winning, because if LSU wins again, they basically knock Alabama out of the CFP chase again. But if LSU wins, or Alabama wins, they'll be right in the thick of things, and they'll have that showdown with probably Georgia at the end of the season. So Alabama's going to win this, I do believe, but LSU might cover. But that's just me basically hedging my bets because it's going to be a great game and nobody knows what's going to happen, dude. Will there be any upsets this week? Who's going to be the most surprising team coming out of Week 8? What do you think is going to happen with Michigan with their whole allegations first game since everything's been coming out? Let me know in the comments below. Hit me on Twitter, @SportsNerd92. Follow me as well with all my shorts. I'll be posting them throughout the weekend. You can follow them as I've been posting. And should be a good weekend of football, guys. See you next week for Week 11 in the matchups.